The management and staff of this great radio station, I say afternoon to the pavilion, the listening audience in Trinidad and Tobago, those on the World Wide Web, those in various countries from the US, Africa, Saudi. We say welcome. We say welcome. I'd like to start by giving the universe thanks for having us above ground today. The universe, the energies, for having us or giving us the privilege to enjoy the wonders of the creations, to enjoy life, to enjoy success, to enjoy family, to enjoy friends, to enjoy achievements as we go through this life cycle that we have as human beings. We give much thanks. A lot of it we have no responsibility for, so we have to really give thanks for the opportunity to be here to experience this life. I look forward to engaging everyone this afternoon as we go through the review of what has been taking place with the match thus far. How the cricket field, how the pitch is looking, the weather condition, the batsmen, how they looking. Are they worn out? The match now start. Are they looking tired? The bowlers, is the bowlers frustrated? Are they putting Vaseline and Vicks on the ball? How is the pavilion? What is in the cooler? And members of the pavilion, we have to examine that. So we have went through a number of batsmen passing through, bowlers. We have looked at the captain of the bowling side and the batting side. The match is looking excited, pretty interesting so far. I know the pavilion is really looking for runs on the board. They say, all right, batsmen, you all posing and you all you're zanti-wine yourself and so forth. Time for some serious runs to be on the ball. We're hearing some things. We know you now come in and so forth, but let me see something now, man. Let me see 2 runs on the board. Let me see some deliveries. When those bowlers bowl, let me see how you all approach those deliveries. We saw a CPEP ball was bowled. We saw the batsmen perform. They didn't come out the wicket too good with CPEP. There was a LBW. With that shutting down without proper communication as to what next. Effective communication, especially in these environments, always speak to enlightening the people what next. You remove assumption, presumption from taking place in space and remove confusion from happening when you have effective communication taking place. There was total lack of effective communication that led to a number of things happening. Call people, let me talk. I remember when the bowlers were batting, I had a similar conversation about where we had an issue with the food card. I think the food card where, you know, it was done in a way that left too much speculation on the table, and I'm seeing a repeat of that when something is done and speculation. So the batsmen had to be mindful of, when you do something, understand there's an impact, be it positive or negative, but we must speak to those that are impacted by that decision, whatever it is. Might be meaningful, might be good, what have you. That there's proper communication as to why, when, how, the impact, who will be affected, how we'll cushion, how we'll support. All of that need to be communicated. It's a demonstration of I care. When I make a decision, I care. Not, well, I do them because they do me. Understand, government policies impacts on the pavilion, the everyday persons outside there. More so, policy makers have to understand that the decisions they make impact on their families, their friends, their neighbors, sometimes themselves also. So we really have to be mindful of how we make policy. It impact on you. You will not be in office all the time, and one day you will be outside like Joe Citizen, and that same policy will come to bite you. So we have to be mindful, and communication is necessary in terms of how we address our day-to-day situation. And so that batsman with that CPEP thing, when they came out to bat, he get a LBW shut down. Yes, we have a recovery taking place right now in terms of how they recovered, or they're recovering from the LBW. We saw Planning Minister Swaraj Singh. He came out with a beautiful stroke in terms of his approach to restructuring BIR. Where he started right, he started from the top with a vision and a mission. What we look at to see how we continue that in relative to how that vision and mission cascades down into the organization, yeah, for the pavilion to realize, yeah, the level of service and the effective and efficiency of that agency or that ministry per se. Right, so we want to look at cascade to see if he'll continue making runs, or if he hit 1-6 and end up getting bowled out. So we'll be following closely from the pavilion, from the umpire's bench, how that batsman continue to roll out his deliveries and put score on the board. So right now we really have one set of score on the board. We haven't seen much happening significantly. I know Trade is trying some things there. He's positioning himself, he's angling himself, and so on. We want to see what Trade does. What I can announce from the umpire's box is yesterday Jamaica would have signed the partnership agreement with the Afri-Exim Bank. 13 islands so far have signed the partnership agreement. We are still at $1.3 billion available for projects, private sector, and so in the Caribbean, yes. The only one that is out, that have been out of the box yet, is Trinidad and Tobago. So Trinidad and Tobago, relative to the partnership agreement with the Afri-Exim Bank, that would move the $1.3 billion available for projects in the Caribbean to $3 billion. It requires now one more signature. One more signature to move from 1.3 to $3 billion available for private sector and government funding of projects. Trinidad, Trade, Finance, we're looking at you to see how you bat that ball. Probably on signing that, a 6 can be made again by the batters once that is signed. It make available for all those private sector projects that is floundering, that is facing the banks, and so that. And this is US loan, by the way. It is not TT dollars again. This is US dollars you're getting really and truly for projects. And the type of projects, again, is look like projects in the health sector, like hospital, tourism type projects, be it a hotel, and so, be it a port projects, be it a manufacturing project, be it agriculture project that have, be it a energy type projects, and so that will be looked at very closely by the bank in terms of funding. Yeah, projects must have a resemblance of that which will generate some level of export, or what we call trade between the diasporas and so forth. That 53, 54 countries in Africa that would be consumers or participate in those activities that will generate in terms of movement of medical staff, movement of agriculture products, movement of manufactured product, tourism in terms of tourism, moving people from the diaspora come down here and so on. There's places to say, so tourism fit into that port, deals with trade. And so, so we look at that and we see some possibilities there as to what we can do in establishing this partnership with the Afri-Exim Bank, stimulating the private sector, stimulating trade. There is supposed to be a trade show, I think on the 27th of July. Yes, July in Grenada with the Afri-Exim Bank. I encourage the business sector to take part and be active in that. Normally that show will have close to a few thousand businessmen from the African diaspora and other communities who looking to connect with, be it distributors, manufacturers, people in the agriculture sector and so forth, who looking for trade, who looking to do business. A culmination of the conversion in Grenada on the 27th, I think, of July. I can get the date for people who are interested. I could always send the link for booking of space and so forth for that convention, that trade convention. A lot can happen inside of there in terms of networking. We need to move this economy forward, people. We really need to move this economy forward. We can't continue for our generations to come with no set of loans and a mountain of loan and bills to pay by our children and grandchildren. We, as adults now, must be responsible enough and make responsible decisions that would ease the burden of our children and grandchildren in the future. We can't go by hablash, just taking loan, borrowing money up and down the place, and when we children and them come and they watch it, we say, oh Lord, IMF time. And if we understand IMF, I mean, I could give you a little thing about IMF and IMF policies in countries. You people in the pavilion, when IMF come at the first, you start to feel the pinch of it. Subsidies is the first thing that goes. That housing that AGC does and give you a subsidized housing, that gone. IMF come here, that gone. They might say build 20 houses and have one outhouse and bathroom for every 10 houses and so forth. IMF policies are stringent. But some countries believe they become more pauperized by engaging in IMF, if you look at the big picture. So we must be so responsible that isn't a thought process in our vocabulary of talking IMF and borrowing. We must structure our society that we do have. We are a small economy, 1.3, 1.4 billion, 1.4 billion. How much do we have here? 100,000, 1 million people, 1.4 million persons. Math's going bad, but only watching too much numbers. 1.3 million persons living on this rock. It's not hard, really and truly, and we have a creative, very, very creative private sector, I could say. They need the support, they need the network, they need access to market. We're looking at with ECOWA and so ECOWA is, as I said, 15 Caribbean, African countries that has a population of over 400 million persons that we should be engaging with in trade. India has brought themselves forward on the table and so forth. If we position ourselves as a government through policy and as the private sector through enterprise and industry and so forth, we could turn around this thing, and probably all of us should get together sometime and set a roadmap for how we can turn around this economy and so forth. We have our food import bill of what, $7 billion plus and so forth. I think I'm being conservative when I say $7 billion. Food import bill, and trying to figure out what it is really important for 1.3 million people. And we are to ask ourselves, and I'm just being mischievous by asking ourselves that we are not developing our manufacturing and agriculture sector because somebody is profiting from this import of $7 billion. Is that the case? Why this country is not looking to diversify and strengthen its agriculture footprint? Because somebody is importing, somebody making that $7 billion and importing that $7 billion and making good money off of that importation of $7 billion. So the longer we stay to turn around our agriculture sector, well, somebody will be making some good money and looking for foreign exchange that we need for students who want to go and study specific courses that are not available in Trinidad and Tobago. They can't get the US to go and pay for it. Who need medical attention that may not be available, they can't get the US because we're bringing in food that we could grow locally. And we must be mindful. I say, somebody profiting on it, and we had a hope, really and truly, that conscience prevail in the decision makers to say, here we're going on. Every product that we import that we could grow down here, we will grow it down here and we'll stop the importation. I say stop and we don't have it yet, you know. Let it be on a cyclical basis that as we reduce import, right? Oh no, let me put it this way. As we increase our agriculture output, we start reducing our import of that item. Let us set timelines for these things. This is not rocket science we're talking about, you know. This is not rocket science. As we identify a list of products that we can, and we have various types of soil content in this country. Between Tobago, at one point in time, Tobago was the food basket of Trinidad and Tobago. So what I'm saying is not impossible, it's not we can't do it, we could do it. Right? What I'm doing right now is recapping, but I'm just passionate about one or two things while I sit in the Empire's box and so forth. We talk about the education system, and I say the education system must be linked directly to national development. to know that we build a balanced economy really and truly. And if we are to incentivize education, it must be incentivized with courses or certifications that lend to the overall building block of the country. But first of all, we have to know what is the building block, what pillars of development we want to grow this country on. I take a caller. Pavilion, welcome.
Gentlemen.
A pleasant one to you, my friend.
Yes. Well, what's happening in the United States?
For some reason, your phone always breaking up. I don't know where you are. If you're using what? This is a WhatsApp call or something like that?
No.
You sound like you're below the water.
Oh Lord. But yeah, maybe I move.
Try the other try calling on the other number. I realize this phone does give this trouble. Try the other number. We have a 3420081. Try that one and see, because this phone, most calls on this phone give trouble. I welcome your call. I welcome the return of conversation with you. Yeah. So we have to look at our agriculture sector. It's not difficult to turn around. I know some farmers or people in the agriculture sector that is doing innovative things. Minister of Agriculture, we must have a conversation sometime soon. There's a lot of innovation taking place in some communities in agriculture, what they're doing in terms of how they structure their greenhouses and so forth. For caller, welcome.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Excellent. I feel I'll tell the engineer about this other phone number. Come true.
Yes, okay, well, here's the thing, right? So as we see what's happening with Mr. Trump.
With who? With whom?
President Trump.
Yeah. What's happening with him?
So he has decided to play a different ball game. So he's slicing ball here, slicing ball there, making cut, three backs and cut on the front, and people can't handle the size that he batting, because it's passing over the head, all between the leg, all kind of thing. He's just slicing ball. He ain't nothing full force. He decided he will take some force instead of whooping for 6. So he's slicing ball. And what that has been able to do is reduce some of the expenditure, because he recognized that he's top heavy. And we need to practice that, because all the attachés who have turned to full-on luggage, you understand, full suitcases, the attachés have turned to now, where instead of you would have had 10 and 15, it's now 45 and 60 people in those attachés that we have, the officers in the different countries, and we have to pay them in foreign currency, So we have currency hemorrhaging because the amount of money we are having to pay in expenditure, that is one thing needs to cut. As far as for agriculture, unfortunately, we had some people that was removing agricultural lands and building houses, like in Egypt Trace, in Arima, down in Sagaramas, and Aranguez, all these food baskets, so to speak, were destroyed. And we saw people on the TV begging and crying, and how it is they're bulldozing their products, that they could have waited for them to pick it at least. And since then, agriculture has been dying consistently, because we remove without replenish and have a plan to do better, because we considered our oil would have made us great. And now we could fall under the curse, as one of the Caribbean leaders had told us over 50 years ago, 60 years ago, that the oil will be our downfall. And it has becoming true, because we relied so heavy on it that we decided to become an import-oriented country and did nothing for natural sustenance. So now we have nowhere to grow anything. It's very limited. And people don't want to go into agriculture, because in Trinidad, unfortunately, agriculture is still seen as a man with a hoe in the hot sun, and not as an industry that could generate income. And because of this mindset of conceptions of what it's supposed to be and what they know it as, instead of seeing it as a future, because the administrations that has passed and even what is here has never put forward a dynamic new front to say this is what agriculture is going to look now. We're going to mechanize and put in format and a state. Instead of we just making things on small scale, we have to do it on a bigger scale. But then again, this is Trinidad.
I
So
hear you,
everybody
caller.
accepts anything and everything.
Thank
and
you.
say, yeah. Well, I see.
Thank you. Good. Yeah. So the caller, the pavilion focus on some historic antecedents there, and we have been given agriculture lip service, really and truly. Lip service. I looked at some previous budgets that were provided for agriculture, and really it doesn't show that we as a country really serious about agriculture. There's a lot of innovation that is taking place in agriculture. There are some farmers still use, to a large extent, the excavators or the tractors and so forth, and till the soil and plant the plantains and the cassavas and so forth. The industry can be mechanized to a large extent. A lot of the land that, I mean, people supposed to know in Trinidad, although people would have bent the rules a little bit. If lands are zoned, all the lands in Trinidad are zoned, be it industrial, be it commercial, be it agriculture, be it for homes and so forth. And we as a country have demonstrated lack of discipline in how we regulate these things. Yeah? A lot of lands were given to farmers during the Eric William administration to do certain things. I know there were some 20 acres of land were given to a number of farmers and so forth with a purpose and intent. You just see bush on the land now. Some were mining cow, some were in heavy cow and cattle and so forth. Nothing is happening. So I don't know what is the vision of the Ministry of Agriculture, and I really like to see the batsman from agriculture come out and show us emotion, talk to the pavilion a little bit as to what is your plan. I see you visiting a lot of farmers, but okay, we're visiting to know what visit and what. Every minister of agriculture went and visit every farmer. I think every farmer know every minister of agriculture. Pavilion, welcome. How are you doing?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm all right. But for the past, I say for several years, I have been hearing talk about agriculture, but I've seen no movement.
Agreed.
No movement.
Agreed.
All you're hearing is talk and talk.
For the last 20 years, I ain't seen no movement in agriculture. Yes.
And I don't know. And the minister who is in charge of agriculture, I think he needs to come out and roll out his plans with respect to the revitalization, because I see it as a revitalization of agriculture.
I want to see a strategic plan also.
And it's not that, you know, I saw some farmers, more so this thing that they cover in Maruga, where they have plantations and pineapple.
Yeah.
And apparently they do very well.
Yeah.
Because I see acres and acres of pineapple. So they are in the business. But I'm saying the biggest disincentive to agriculture, one of the biggest disincentives that people becoming engaged or involved in agriculture, seemingly, is the competition from importers of agricultural produce. So you have these people importing the businessmen, commercial people involved in that import trade. So when people produce, where are they going to sell it? Because they're under competition from those people who import tomatoes, you name it, from abroad. So they can't, it's difficult for them to survive because, you know, in terms of selling their product. And another thing that is very critical is that in this trade here, as you rightly said, there's no time span. They just do things. You know, I want to see certain things done by, they set targets and that kind of thing. Nothing like that. You just do this and whatever happen. I want to see a more, you know, a more structured, a more determined, you know, approach to doing things, more especially agriculture. The same thing I talk about those business people who've imported. I remember some years ago with respect to the coconut oil. The propaganda was that the coconut oil was causing cholesterol and whatnot, and they brought in a set of
you have good memory. You have good memory.
And kill the copra industry.
Yes.
The same thing was done with citrus, orange and grapefruit. They started bringing these business from Belize, right? These what I can't remember the name of it. And when you, so in essence, what happened, because you're not getting pure orange juice again, you're getting those things that they bring in the powder, that powder, because I can't remember the name for it. And that killed long time, I remember a couple of years ago, you go to Port of Spain, all on Frederick Street, it's oranges, you buy about 10 oranges for $5. No, you can't get any.
Yeah, carnival time, orange man all over. This carnival pass, you had to look for the orange man.
You had buffalo, all down in Cedros, all down there, buffalo. So these things.
All New Grant had a lot of buffalo so there in the farm down there.
Yeah. Coconut and all these things they destroy because they're bringing in soya oil and all that kind of. The very set people in this country, greed and graft, mash up this place, you know. Destroy it. Together with politicians, destroy the place. So I want to see that there must be a restart, and I want to see, as you rightly say, a strategic plan, and I want to see a plan with respect, roll out that plan with respect to how you're going to...
Excellent contribution, Kola. Excellent, thank you. Good. And this was all about and this what maturity in citizen must demonstrate, yeah? Do not go or continue. You know, I made a comment, someone didn't understand when I said our parents' time and Eric William time, what the expectation of the pavilion should be. Really and truly, when a leader comes before you and say, well, we're going and stimulate the agriculture sector, we're going to focus on agriculture. Don't say re, you know. Say, well, when you show me the plan, if it makes sense, I'll say re. Do you have time to re yet, you know? Stop being confused and conbobulated by platitudes and so forth. Because you man say that it sounds good and you re, and so look at the implication. Okay, yeah, here you're going to do it, you know, how will that impact on me, my children, my grandchildren, my neighbor? How will that impact on? Show me the analysis you're going to do. If you want me to buy into it and compliment you, look at him and say, all right, I hear your intention. Show me the plan, show me the strategy, the game plan, show me the beneficiaries of that, show me the outfall, the pros and the cons of it. And the same thing I would say, we have, well, the government have, the batsmen have made some adjustment with CPEP. We can only speculate because I am one who would say, okay, I see you do that. But I can't compliment you. You may say one or two things and people say, yeah. But what is the next move? What is the plan? Where's the vision you're going with in terms of that organization? I can't compliment you as yet. I cannot applaud you as yet. You have not done nothing to impress. I'm not impressed as yet as the umpire. There's nothing to score. You have made a move. You have carry. As they say only stick fighting, they say the man carry, you roll back and so forth. But what is the overall strategy? And we as a people in the pavilion, I'm in the Empire box, and I'm telling you all, do not applaud platitudes and gestures and comments. You know, there's a saying, politicians are people that'll tell you they're building a bridge. where there's no river. Oh, I'm building a bridge for you all, and everybody clap, and then when we go home, they say, but there's no river here. Why are you building a bridge? There's no river. We must start asking in-depth questions of the batsmen when they go to bat. And so the bowlers, when the bowlers come to give you the ring-dong song, you must have, oh, caller, welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, sir. So Selvon.
How are you doing?
And let me add in a little bit again. Director of the 6 regions of Africa concerned to the Caribbean.
Ah, you're researching me, man. Yes. Let me say it to the people. So I am the director of the. Yes, I'm the director of the.
You're putting it in the background. I am putting it in the background at all. Because you personally, aside from the 3 umpires,
yeah,
you personally, to me, have a power in the Caribbean that you're not advertising it, which, okay, I want you are privileged to hold your point a little bit. But the truth is that I ride in on your shoulder because I have work for you to do. And I know that work, it will start here, where, now we don't have the next 2 this afternoon yet, because I ain't here Orlando there, but you there. And I say 12. I keep on telling you 12. Now, the government batsmen and bowlers, they are there. What's happening here in your conversation? What subject is basically on this evening? Agriculture?
No, I'm broad-basing what we have dealt with. So I was on agriculture at this point in time.
And everything.
Yeah. I was just doing an overview. But you can roll. You can roll with any one of them if you're talking agriculture.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I could recognize that. So what we're saying here is that now there are 12 offices in all councils and so forth. President, treasurer, secretary, public relation officer, that's going to hold all the labor and all kind of thing. You have education officer, welfare, you have two welfare officers, because one dealing with urban, rural business and the next one dealing with health and human resource and so forth. You have youth officer, you have you have even an election officer within my post that I sent out it. And I have assistant secretary, trustee, and the vice president. You see, those names are called it. Now, those are offices, and they could simply turn to ministries. Now, in those ministries now, you would find that all subject matters in the existence will be behind them as duties, as portfolios that those officers will have to do. And there's where the thing is. Because you are supposed to have 12 umpires out of the pavilion. Because the pavilion is made up with umpires, batters, bowlers, everybody. But if we only want to put a 12 bowlers and a 12 batsmen in the wicket, not recognizing that, and you only have 3 umpires, you need 12 umpires out of the pavilion to, you understand, to go, to stand up as all those ministries or offices that I just talked about. When you have them now on the outside, you could more or less nearly do it, demand of the government batsmen and bowlers what you want, because I'm tired of finding that we only wanted to ask them what they would do for we. And in that we having a problem, because we supposed to be the one who vote them there, telling them
to do something for us.
Having a consultation with us, and we having a consultation with them.
Well, that is the problem that this society, I won't deal with this society. You know, a lot of times people talk geopolitics, and I say, I don't want to go into geopolitics, and I'm going to train that politics, you know, because when I study what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, to a large extent, I mind my business to some extent. And I have to have a train that they don't know. We supposed to be put in a position to, because people come to us and say, we doing this for us, but I'm putting you there to do something for me. Now, I'm putting you there to do what you want to do. We stand back after we vote and a government, an executive is in place. The pavilion tend to stand back and simply watch the match. And but the pavilion must be making demands in terms of a vision, in terms of an outcome, in terms of solution to improve all aspects of their lives. But Prezi, I want to jump adding someone else. You can always fall back in and continue. I see we have about 5 more people there, but you're always free to shout back in, yes?
Yeah, we will talk about the decentralization and the diversification consultant and
you are
we call again what is again? The next one is let me get it yes, certification.
Yeah, no problem.
And
good.
Don't have to come about, and when you're starting, as I say that you should hold on the 12, and before 100 days done, see they could do that so we could get something started.
Blessings to you. So again, what Perez is talking about is a structure of government to deliver, but we are to be mindful of what it is we want them to deliver and understand we still have a role and responsibility in the government. And when we say government, we say government and we look at the executive, but we have to look at we have still at the judiciary, we have the legislature. All of them we have to look at how all arms of government, how are they performing in the welfare and the best interests of us. Remember, at the end of the day, we are the employers of those persons that we place there. All of us can't be there, so we place some persons there. Yes? They won't place it to do what they want to do, how they want to do, and when they want to do it. There must be, I always say, some level of consultation before there's representation. You can't dictate that you feel I should get this. Now, I didn't put you there for the way you feel to do. I put you there to do something in my best interest. So in terms of development of the country, I'll say we looked at agriculture. I'd like to see agriculture plan that deals with spatial agriculture apart from horizontal agriculture and so forth. I'd like to see some greenhouse houses taken and place in terms of greenhouse covered. I know one farmer this farmer I know have tomatoes. He supply tomatoes 6 months of the year. He have tomatoes to supply continuously. And the methods that he uses on a daily basis, the way he structure his farm. 12 months for the year he have with the pimento peppers. His peppers running 12 months for the year. I would like to have a conversation with the Minister of Agriculture on how we could really and truly duplicate what this farmer is doing really and truly as a farmer. Yeah, he's not, let me tell you something. I don't talk what people tell me. I talk what I see, what I experience to a large extent. So they don't all talk. This was I've seen, I've picked some tomatoes from the tree, I've picked some pimentos from the tree. I've sat and watched how they go about the fertilization process. So this level of farming exists in Trinidad. So we have capacity. So although it is not, let's say, 20 acres, but a small, I call it homestead in terms of size of farm, maybe about 2 acres as the case may be of land, right? 2 to 3 acres of land. But the continuous output of that farm that is taking place there is significant. And that is something we can duplicate. What we have to be mindful too, batsman from agriculture, there's a lot of chemicals that we use in Trinidad that create difficulty to export the products, because some of our products cannot be exported into certain countries because of the chemicals that we use. That is something we have to pay particular attention to also. There was one caller mentioned pine in some community and so forth. There's a large market for pine in England. There's a high demand for pineapple, and they like the Trinidad pineapple because they say the one from Guyana is not as tasty. It's to use palang, it's watery. The one from Guyana, the one from Trinidad have more substance, more taste. So in England, there's a demand for pineapples. I don't know if our embassies are fallen asleep in these countries outside here, but I can tell you, a high demand. They don't want the big pineapple, they want the smaller pineapple that they could cut up and carry to work for lunch. So it's one pineapple, it is the size that could fit in a container when they peel it and cut it up, so someone can take an entire pine for lunch. They have to cut half and put half in the fridge and all kind of thing. There is a thriving demand. a market demand for that in England right now. I'm just giving you one example of opportunity that exists for export. But again, the people in Global TT, in the Ministry of Trade, the connectivity of all our embassies, and they must focus on a trade behavior. These fellas going up there in scissor silk coat and shipping some champagne and so forth is what we don't want, really. Caller, welcome.
Yes, sir. Okay. You see, since I was in school, very long, there was this talk about, instead of, going with sugar, because sugar was on a kind of decline in this country because of the cost, and that's why at the end economic determinism make them pay us to stop planting sugar. Where the money gone, I don't know, but I know they were paid in pounds in the millions. Since then, or before that, in school I learned there were people speaking about us diversifying from the sugar and going into soya, because soya was a big thing at that time. Right now, a number of countries are also getting involved in corn. Not because corn is a big product to sell, but it's eco-fuel. And I know we're going electric, but there is a big issue with electric cars as well. That's why you see you have a big little disagreement between Trump and his good friend recently, because he's saying, I don't want to have this amount of eco-waste at the end of the day, because the batteries have to throw away, and that's a problem for the ecology of the ground. So we have a number of things that we can still do. But again, as I said, the challenge is, and you mentioned it earlier, that we don't assign anything. So you have businesses, industries, factories in the midst of housing area. What started off as housing, you now have factories. And the thing is, before that, they were agricultural land. So you take the agricultural land, make it into housing, and then you put factories in it.
That's because the country didn't have a development plan, so everybody just, you go to a country and they give you a change of use from agriculture to housing or commercial and so forth, because there was no, and this is what we had to get at. Where are we going as a country? What do we want to see ourselves as in 5 years, in 10 years?
We don't even have a plan for housing against the numerous amount of floodings, because, you see, and because we don't want to get involved in the storm tanks, which reduces the amount of water that's coming out at the end of the day. I have been pushing, trying to get that off the ground for the past 25 years. And government come, government go. They figure that their $1 million engineers are much better to do rubbish than to listen to some semblance of common sense.
Yeah.
There is ways to get rid of it. Yesterday, I think I heard on the show they were speaking about the amount of tons of plastic waste that they're getting every year.
And plastic is so easy to recycle. Plastic, Caller, is one of the easiest things to recycle. Tires.
Yeah, but it's to get it. It's to collect it, and it's easy to collect it.
It's easy to collect. It's easy to recycle. Let me tell you something. We just forming, yes. We're on radio. We are forming as a society. Let me tell you, Trinidad have problems that can be solved within 6-7 months' time, as the case may be.
We have self-inflicted problems.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks, Caller. Thanks, Caller. So we here looking to go for a little break. When we come back, I'll tell you what I had during my break. As I go on this break, I'll discuss. They're bringing out some coolers and I see some boxes. When I come back from this break, I had to really discuss what this is they'll be bringing for me in this Empire box to eat. Yeah, I'll give you all an idea what it is, but we'll focus on the review. In the second hour, we'll zero in on one of the batsmen. And we'll expand on what is expected from this batsman, really and truly, what has been happening with that batsman. as they go about. We have the conversation on alcohol and the age and so forth. We'll look into that and see how the captain is bowling on the batting side, right? We'll be back in 2 shakes.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Attention business owners. Are you looking to reach a vast audience and boost your brand's visibility? Then look no further. The Street 919 FM is here to help you shine. With over 170,000 followers on our social media platforms, our radio station is the perfect platform to showcase your products and services. Join us and let your message be heard by thousands of eager listeners. Contact us now to learn more about our affordable advertising packages. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to connect with your target audience. Advertise with the Street 919 FM today. For more information, call 399-5959 or 384-2232.
This summer, give your child skills of a lifetime with several boot camp. Children between the ages of 5 to 17 come enjoy Children Iron Chef competition. Your child will learn to prepare healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, CPR, first aid, and conflict management. With field trip, your child will be given free apron and certification upon completion. Call 492-7397 or 336-4935. Institute of Health and Fitness Company Limited, located at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna.
For the month of June, registration will only be $50 to book your space, and you can pay the tuition fee before the start of camp.
Ikaro, I am Alatumishe Ifabamishe Aganki, better known as MC Duke.
And every Monday between the hours of 9 p.m. to midnight,
I host a show called Orisha, The Way of Life, right here on the Street 919 FM, where I have guests passing through from the Orisha Ifa Baptist Diaspora to educate, edify, and inform you, the listening public, about Orisha Ifa practices. So remember to tune in
every Monday between the hours of 9 p.m. to midnight
for Orisha, The Way of Life.
We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. Play way fast cash, that is the fit. We rollin' big. Fast cash and play way take win. No extra spend, just vibes and luck. Play way and fast cash turn up. We rollin', yes we rollin' big. Fast cash and play way take win. Mega mix some monster big. Jackpot from 10,000 quick.
Jackpot starting at $10,000 have now been added to NLCB's Playway and Fast Cash games. Wager on Playway Mega Mix or Fast Cash Monster Draw for a chance to win the jackpot after every draw. Don't miss out. Visit NLCBGames.com for details. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly.
Get hot this summer. Oh no, we mean HUT, as in hot days mean hot deals with Pizza Hut. Get one large pizza plus single breadsticks for only $135, or go bigger with 2 large pizzas, family breadsticks, and cinnamon rolls for just $290. All your favorite pizzas with all the toppings you love all summer long. So head to the Hut and get your hot deals while this offer is super hot. Pizza Hut, now that's delivering.
Come shop at the biggest African market in the Caribbean with its African-inspired art, craft, jewelry, clothing, books, delicious food. We're at the Queen's Park Savannah, transformed into the Lidjasu Omuale Emancipation Village for the 2025 Pan-African Festival TT, commemorating emancipation, July 25th to August 1st. Also, enjoy jazz, pan, calypso, reggae, dance, drumming, bois, art exhibits, and for the children, the African Heritage Camp and workshops. The village opens 10:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. Free admission before 3 p.m. Just $40 after. Kids under 12, free all day. Bring your family, your friends, your vibes, and let's celebrate the 187th anniversary of emancipation, our heritage and future together. The Emancipation Support Committee, shaping sustainable futures through reparatory justice.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on The Street 919 FM radio. Here my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
When your corporate event needs more than just food, it needs an experience, a Michelin experience. From mouth-watering buffet spreads to beautiful packed takeaway boxes, the Michelin Experience Limited delivers more than just wheels. We deliver flavor. We deliver satisfaction. We deliver excellence straight to your boardroom. Whether it's a conference, board meeting, or a retirement function, go beyond basic. Go bold. Go Michelin Experience Limited. Call us now at 1-868-474-2250 or follow us on social media at Michelin Experience. Great food, exceptional service every time.
Tune in to The Street 919 FM every Friday from 9:15 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. with Kingdom Health Services, situated at number 125 to 186 Eastern Main Road in Tunapuna. For the program, Health and Healing, merging the old with the new, with Mr. Brent Diet. For more information, call 318-7471 or 484-0141 or 360-4100. It's all about Kingdom Health Services on The Street 919 FM.
Join the winning team with Pastor Alkaline John
every Tuesday from 11:05 a.m. to 12 noon and every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m.
live on The Street 919 FM as he talks about Lviv, the power of 5 fruits, one of the most powerful antioxidant supplements on the market today. The 5 superfruits in Lviv are mangosteen, acai, pomegranate, goji, and nuni. These fruits have a positive and profound impact on human health performance and disease. Join him as he gives live testimonials of the Lviv healing powers. To get more information, you can contact Pastor Alkaline John at 516-286-7079 or you can visit his webpage at www.alkalinejohn.com. Remember,
every Tuesday from 11:05 a.m. to 12 noon and every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m.
live on The Street 919 FM.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
We are back. We are back. We're back to the Empire. The Empire box, I must say, dip it, dunk it, and win it this Saturday, 12th July at KFC South Park. Come sample the new KFC tenders and step into the Java experience. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., unlock the giveaways, augmented reality games, exclusive merch, and free KFC. Hosted by Junior Lee and Chinese with live DJ vibes in effect. Chase the crunch and unlock the Java with KFC. So you all understand what's going on in the box here? Heavy KFC. Heavy KFC. So, in looking at where we are, and the batsman, some of the batting that we want to look at, really and truly, you know, I look at some numbers. Ease of doing business in Trinidad, we ranked somewhere 80-something globally. Ease of doing business out of 190 countries. Out of 190 countries, the ease of doing business in Trinidad, we rank 105. We're not ready yet, you know. We're not ready yet. Rank 105, 109 countries, ease of doing business. Other 190, 105. It says something that the batsmen, whoever is batting, and the bowlers have a lot of work to do. The yin yang and the train talk and foolishness. We're pivoting on foolishness on that which will not take us anywhere at all as a country and so forth. We have to look at that. We have to look at what are the pillars of development that we want to look at, and look at the batsmen responsible for those pillars of development and see how they perform in relative to the economy, education, in terms of births and death and so forth, in terms of infrastructure development and so. Where are we with that in comparison to what is best practice globally in terms of taking us there? I started talking about agriculture sector and simple things that we can do. Simple chemicals that we should not be using that we can do, and I wonder what the technocrats in Ministry of Agriculture are doing. I wonder what Customs and Excise are doing and so forth. I wonder what the Faculty of Agriculture and University of the West Indies, what they're doing. What they're doing. Either they're going to work to do something and deliver something to be proud about, or they're just going for money for salary and to pay bills, as the case may be. But clearly we have not demonstrated over the last 20 years any significant milestone in terms of agriculture. I remember some years ago Nestle started an embryo project with farmers to produce stuff for cows to produce more milk and so forth. And I was pretty close to the project, so I could speak to that. I know that was taking place. I don't know where it is right now in terms of that. What else is happening in agriculture is farmers struggling to make ends meet. So it's not incentivized to any significant way to encourage. Yeah, incentivized to stimulate any great growth in that sector. Have we looked at clearly? I see at one time there's some agricultural land in Crep that the university used for experiment and so forth, that they were looking to build apartment on the land, and one wonders really and truly what's going on. You know, there's one time some agriculture produce was being almost close to reaping, and it was cleared for housing and so forth. Both batting side and bowling side are guilty of negligence of the agriculture sector. I stand as a third umpire and watch both sides how they behave and say both are guilty of. So really and truly there's a side batting now, and we really want to see what is the vision, what is the end in mind, what are some of the measurements the pavilion can hold you to relative to delivering on the agriculture. And one of the measurements I would use often at the top of my head is to see how the food import bill have reduced within the first 12 months of the batsmen batting. That is a measurement we can use in the pavilion. Let's see how we take it down, how that is toned down, how that is reduced, how our foreign exchange. Yes? 700 million, that's close to 1 billion US in food we import, eh? Let's see what percentage of that can be reduced within the first 12 months. We in the pavilion, you in the pavilion, must give the batsmen some targets. Must give targets. Caller, welcome. Caller, welcome. Not here, Nicole.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon.
Listeners. Why when I listen...
Say that again?
Why when I'm listening to you, right? Just now. I keep hearing, we have, you know, you spoke of plans like agriculture. And I'm wondering what the people in the pavilion are doing. Like, it's always, like you said about the agriculture, you said you don't know where it is. You said there was a time certain things happen. Why do we don't know? You said earlier, I think, we elect a executive or whatever, have an administration, and then everybody goes on the table and sit and eat normal, like if nothing is happening, right? Why don't we, I find we don't accept, we the public don't accept responsibility. I will say over and over again. Why do we sit and wait? Why do we sit and look? Why do we sit and hope for? You are there. You should be telling me, someone. I'm not saying you personally to them, but I mean, we should be. You know, this project is a very good. I'll see and go around to school. Do something. Why do we always wait on the man with the bag to deliver the goodies? I don't understand, because I'm listening to you. I'm hearing good. And as you said, you are. I don't know if you are still in the belly of the beast, but you are there. You and many yous, not you alone, you know, not you alone. We are there. And we just hear what somebody says and go and sit down. When, you know, you have to act. We as a people, we as a nation should be getting up and doing exactly what you say. Even if, like you say, there's this gardener doing this and I saw him. I mean, saw him. Why we have an import bill in the same breath? You relating about this guy, right? And that sounds so perfect to me. And the next breath is an import bill is millions of dollars. Why? Why are we importing food? So I'm listening. I'm just trying to get the gist of what you're saying.
Appreciate.
Because we like to sit down too much.
Appreciate. I hear you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, good. You have such good. You see such good things come out your mouth in one breath, and the next breath we have no money. We import. How are we importing food when as a man like what you're speaking about?
Yes, exactly.
Even if it's for our own self, even if we don't go and do, even if it's just for us to eat, the land to eat. But anyway, I will stay and listen.
Thank you.
Thanks very
You're
much
welcome.
again.
You're welcome. Good. Caller, you could call back there. So, each one of us have a role to play in the development plan that we have. And too many times we vote in an executive. You're zeroing in, and I want us to culture ourselves. I want us to culture ourselves in the pavilion to understand the captain managed the executive, not the government. Yeah? So now we're dealing with the executive, right? Not the legislature, not the judiciary. The executive, which is the prime minister and the cabinet and the ministers. That's the executive. So we must focus on what it is the executive doing if we're dealing with crime and criminality and the justice system. We're dealing with judiciary. And if we're dealing with laws, we're dealing with the legislature. So we must be specific in the categories in which we're focusing on. So we're focusing on the captain, which is the executive right now, and what they're doing based on the responsibility we give them to do. And normally we vote them out if they don't comply with or have done nothing with the opportunity given to them to manage effectively. And again, I say manage with consultation. Our opportunity, someone mentioned plastics and so forth. It's one of the easiest things. Tire recycling is one of the easiest things to do. It's prevalent. In terms of, I know some people, I see they cut it up and export it and so forth. Probably we could create an industry that make mats and so forth from the tires that we have, that we can recycle to make mats. We can recycle tires to extract the crude oil. It takes 15 gallons of crude oil to make a tire, 15 gallons. And you know you could extract that oil from tires and put it back into the economy in terms of export and so forth, or use it through a cat cracker system and get paraffins and diesel and so forth from it. What I'm saying here, these are not rocket science. These are elementary things I'm talking about, you know, Pavilion. Really and truly. These are not rocket science. My God. Why are we where we are? Are we not thinking? Or are we at the juncture of Rockefeller, When they started the education system in the US to a large extent, Rockefeller believed, and in his mind, look, I want a more productive workforce. I want a more efficient workforce. I want a more knowledgeable workforce. And he promoted the establishment of what we call schools and this whole education system to a large extent. So the vision of the education system in the US was never to churn out thinkers and deliverers, it was workers, a more competent level of workers. Trinidad, to a large extent, we have a lot of competent and educated and qualified workers, but parallel to that, we have a level of innovative amount of citizens. We have a large cadre of innovative citizens. I go back to some of the companies that from homegrown with pepper sauce and so forth. I look at things that are done in Tobago by the little home kitchen persons and so forth. We have an enterprising SME sector in Trinidad. And we must seek to how we can stimulate that sector to grow and blossom and mushroom into great things. But the executive is there now to lend support through policy. People say, well, we're not looking to the government or the executive in this instance to do, but to set policy. For example, assist with certain subsidies as the case may be. Assist with regulation as the case may be. Yeah? Regulation that say assist with tariffs, trade tariffs and so forth with other countries. So from a policy standpoint, a lot can be done by the executive in terms of moving the economy forward, lifting the standard of living. By policy, simple policy, by saying, look, we must zone a percentage of the acreage that exists in Trinidad and Tobago for agriculture. That must be clearly defined policy, but not policy of a party, and that's why we fail. Singapore, we talk about them, but I'll only talk about Singapore in this context. Singapore legislate their development plan. This why they are where they are today. It wasn't a party plan, but it was a legislated development plan. It wasn't like one party or one group build Brian Lara Stadium, the next group say, I'm not continue it because I didn't start that. One set build the children hospital, the next group say, well, we are continuing that because we didn't start that. But who suffers? Who money it is? It's our money that executive go and play hanky-panky, I think that's what they call it, or something like that, the Chinese call it, with the money, and I ain't doing this and I ain't doing like it's not. Listen, batsmen and bowlers now only is our in the pavilion money, and you'll have to be responsible. And what we in the pavilion, you in the pavilion, have to start saying here, what? You see, any major development plan must be legislated. So any executive takeover must continue in that vein. It must be legislated. Our money can't be just going down the drain and we just happen stand. We let we build a highway down the road and nobody could say, well, where the money coming from? What is the return on investment? What is the mischief we're trying to solve, as the case may be? When we would see a significant return on that from an economic standpoint in terms of growth and so forth. Is there any other priority initiatives that we could focus on instead of building this from that? It must be legislated. Once you're going to spend a certain amount of money, it must be legislated. It can be a executive decision. Caller, welcome.
And that is why I tell you it must be 12 umpires inside of the parliament and 12 outside of the parliament, which going to be we in the pavilion. I tell you, it have batsmen, bowlers, and umpires in the pavilion. Unless we do that, we go be always getting them demanding to we and we demanding to them. We have to take over the system. That is how what really the politics supposed to be. As long as I hiring you, I in charge of you, you can be in charge of me. My brother, you're the best one in the position to do what you have to do because you have all the educators right now to form a 12 You prepare for that parliament. So now, start from the outside. So you're dealing with them already from the outside, from the 12 ministries. Start to do it. Don't be late on it. Once you tackle the thing, you've seen it already, you know. But you can't wait for people to just, what we going to do and what we going to do. A structure, a vision must be set and maintain the mission that's set behind the vision. That vision started for we, my brothers and sisters, started. That is a network, you know. Start the thing, my brother. I keep on telling and showing you how you have to pick up. We, as the people who have to demand, we only could demand with 12 people in the parliament. That is the power. Otherwise, all what we're trying to say here now, we begging more than we demanding. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead, Dave.
So the pavilion have to do, when the game start, I know in every game everybody wants somebody to win, but at the end of the day, the pavilion want a good game, and a good game speaks to... Caller, welcome. Caller, welcome.
Hello, yes. I just called to give that caller, that last caller there, 100% good, because I like what he says. Always to us, I like what he said. We have to get up. Somebody, you are sitting down there looking good, talking good, being educated, but what is it? Where is it going? Where are you? So as he said, we need somebody, and you look like a leader, so, we're listening to you. We're looking at how you're batting, if you're bowling, if you're just liming, or whatever you're doing, okay?
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller. So we must have a position from the pavilion in terms of when the batsmen and they speaking to us, so the bowler, take off. You see, I want to put it raw. You see, after election pavilion, see after that vote and we decide which executive is in charge, caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon.
Afternoon, my friend. Afternoon, pavilion.
Hey, man. What I want to see and what I want the new government to do is to focus on development administration. Now, development administration is a concept that you do not hear about in Trinidad at all. Right? And it's about developing from the ground up. Right? So, for example, you have all these remittances that come from abroad, people sending money here. People send money from abroad to their relatives here. We need to know how much money, right, from a statistical point of view, comes into the system here in terms of remittances. We need to encourage suitcase trading, giving people benefits to be small traders, right? From the agricultural part now, we need to recreate an agricultural marketing board like long time, right? So that in the rural districts we can have mass production of bananas again and of plantains, and so we can do some exports of those crops, right? We need fishing to deal with that, to mass manufacture fish, right? For export, like how the islands are doing it. We cannot sit down and just do not come up with brilliant ideas, and even if we look back, but by looking back, we will be going forward, right? Because cricketers of the past, right, that present cricketers have to look for or look up to. They can how they call it, so that they can self-actualize, and the world beaters and world raiders.
Yes.
Right?
Excellent. Thank you, caller. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
You mentioned something there, caller, about farming. You all know there's a tilapia farming. Tilapia is a fish. there's one economy, I'll give you all the information tomorrow, God's willing, that the major GDP is derived from the export of tilapia. I did some research on that. I don't want to say, my colleagues just laugh when I give them, when I do things. They say, oh, yeah. So someone tell me if I march with Martin Luther and Mahatma Gandhi and they when I say things I've done. But there's one economy, an Asian economy, one of those economies outside there that a major part of their GDP is derived from the export of tilapia, that fish and so forth. I know one or two local farmers are into tilapia farming. There's one up Wallafield. I've visited that farm up there, and they were doing good work. Small but pretty productive. I know in the school feeding program that we have, I know there was a sampling of the tilapia that are grown locally by farmers as part of that mainstay in the school feeding program. And so there's a lot we can do to really stimulate this economy in terms of our manufacturers and exposure to markets. And so we can. I heard Prime Minister Gonzalez talking about our dollar. I know yesterday one or two people mentioned about this CARICOM meeting and what is achieving CARICOM and so forth. I have my take in terms of what we should be looking for. We have achieved a lot in CARICOM, not enough, but there are some milestones in terms of the free movement of skilled labor throughout the CARICOM region. And so through CSME, we have the last addition to that listing, security officers in the private security sectors. So there's free movement of private security officers through the CSME group. Countries that signed that agreement. We had, I think, MAID is a word I still use. People call MAID, or I think there's a more scientific name for people who work in that industry. But there's free movement of persons who work in that domestic environment and so forth. Those were added to the CSME listing from my last look at it. So CARICOM, they're working, but what I would like to see with CARICOM as the last meeting of the Exim Bank in Nigeria, that happened last month, last month, we had established, they established a one-card system for trade, where they trade using a pass card. And I'll get into that just to bring how the ease of doing business is really and truly. Don't let nobody give you the impression that is some mystery. And so they'll be fooled by that and so forth. What the CARICOM region should be doing, these little islands should be focusing on and having trade between the islands on one common currency. Instead of the US currency, they establish a CARICOM trade currency. Yes, because no one wants the Trinidadian dollar, right? Guyana don't say want a Trinidadian dollar. So our dollar as a Trinidad, this TT dollar is useless, wasteless. It is in terms of the international market. You go somewhere and if you want to light a bonfire, you may use that. But really and truly, in terms of trading with it and so forth, it puzzles me how we never shifted that economic position of our dollar to be more relevant. The ECs, you can see ECs traded outside there and so forth, the Bajan dollar and so forth, but Trinidad dollar is just floundering. So one thing I hope can come out of this CARICOM heads meeting, 6th, 7th, 8th, it finish tomorrow, 8th, finish already, tomorrow, is that we must try and establish a common trading platform to move goods and services throughout the CARICOM region. We are much people, 12 million persons or so, running about the place. So it's nothing prohibitive. And it's a good template to start with other. I hear the Prime Minister of Barbados talk about the ferry service between the CARICOM region and so forth. We still have to look at the airline. Why it is more expensive to go Antigua than it is to go New York from Trinidad? Why nobody looking at that? Yeah, why I can make 2 trips to New York or Miami and I can't even make 1 to go Antigua? We have to look at that and be serious on how we look at the CARICOM as one community, as one village. Yeah? We have to start looking at that in how we develop, how we utilize the strengths of each island to advance a common vision for CARICOM. I don't know, I must look at a summary of this last meeting that they haven't to know where they're going. They talk security and one security. I don't know if they have one security platform in terms of monitoring. I hear they talk about it a few times. The economic space of our waters and so forth, how it is monitored. But we as a people, as the caller priority say, must demand more from the persons we put there, because all of us, as I always say, can't fit in the parliament. But as we in the pavilion, we must demand more of those that we put inside of there to work on our behalf. You see, I'm not couching the word, to work on our behalf. It's not on their behalf, it's not what they want, you know. It is on our behalf we put them to perform in the field, to bat and to bowl. So when they come with things, don't look at it as red and yellow. Look at it as how does that impact on my generations to come. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And tell people that. And measure them by those things that impact on the greater good. Caller, welcome.
You see, I tell you, you have a network to even reach Africa. In your mind, what I send out there as a post, you have it. You don't even realize it, you have it. Trinidad, go in and rule the whole entire place under politics with that consciousness. You make it out, you. Once you make it out, you is my director right now with Papa God Jimmy to put over in the face of the place of the thing. Do what I say, because I know you is the person who has the whole ideology concept of what's in my mind. Do it, my brother.
All right. We're doing it. You're
holding back.
I ain't holding back. I let it go. All right, caller, thanks. You know, I just take a little note earlier, and I want to start drilling down on some solutions in terms of the pavilion. We up in the Third Empire box, so we have a good view. We have a number of screen and televisions outside there, peeping at all aspect of the batting and the bowling and so forth. We always speak of the situation or the environmental challenge we have with tires and plastic and so forth. Where I sit in the pavilion, I'll fire everybody in the solid waste management company. I'll just fire everybody tomorrow. I'll go and just terminate everybody tomorrow and so forth. And why? We're going to say that you put better people out and so forth. You haven't delivered anything in the last 15 years. You haven't done anything relative to improving our environmental position, from the dumps, from disposal of plastic, from disposal of tires, from disposal of people. What have been the contribution our solid waste management company in these areas in the country? We as the people in the pavilion have to start pushing back and demanding. We've put you there to do something on our behalf, and we take our hard-earned money, the worker who work in CPEP, the worker working in the fast food industry, taking off the money to pay you. Give them some return on that investment in paying you. Up to now, you cannot put together a proper solution to recycle tires, to recycle plastic, to recycle papers in this country. Not even have scrap iron by the road. What are the people in solid waste management company doing? I don't know. Are you in the pavilion? Are you demanding anything from them? Are you happy like Papi with the performance? Who is the batsman responsible for that agency? Batsman, put on your gloves. Put on the pads. Go and start to bat. Because the performance of that agency, I didn't get rid of it, you know. I probably alone could. Let me tell you something. Give me the challenge. In 6 months, I can recycle every piece of plastic and tire in Trinidad and Tobago in less than 6 months. I want no solid waste management. Me and probably 2 partners. And I bring some, probably I guess some KFC for them. Caller, you are always welcome. Talk to me.
Okay, I am giving you that challenge. You take up, I am telling you,
Bacchanal
you're
start.
talking big and brave and bold. So, put some muscle behind that talk. And I am waiting to see that. 6 months, you say, right?
6 months.
6 months. We have to be serious.
But no, but caller.
serious.
You have to understand. I don't have the authority. I know what to do. I just don't have the authority to so do.
Who tell you, wait.
Well, caller will give me the fund. Give me the. Let me tell you. Give me the funding.
You just said. Give you the.
Give me the authority.
To give you the right.
Give me the authority, and in 6 months, every piece of tire and plastic in Trinidad will be recycled with immediate in less than 6 months. Give me the authority.
What will it take for you to get that authority? We already give it to you. I give you that authority.
All right.
What are you
Good.
doing?
Okay.
So
I have one vote. I have one vote. I have one vote. I take that vote. Good. Thanks, caller.
Right.
Okay, good.
Right.
All I'm saying, really, from the... And why I could say this is because we sit down in the Empire box. The Third Empire have a good view of the whole feel and the performance of the bowlers. We could listen sometime to the locker room and so forth. The recycling issue we have in Trinidad is not an issue. It's lack of will, is laziness from the persons in charge, is a backward thinking, right? I'm looking for words. I think people will tell me the first time we see a loss for words, but really and truly words. Let me tell you. The agriculture issues we have in Trinidad, we don't have no agriculture issues, you know. We need some policy decisions in terms of streamlining. We need to zone agriculture. The Agriculture Society in the University, I don't know what you're all supposed to be doing. I don't know what is your vision, mission. I don't know what is your rubric. I don't know what is your overarching responsibility. I know you all participated when I did something about 20-something years ago in Castlefield with local government. I had a lot of support from the University of the West Indies. So I know you all are ready, willing, and able. And probably you all have to be a little more aggressive and assert yourself into mainstream agriculture in Trinidad. Make your voices heard. You're too quiet. Probably I should invite you all to come and sit with me in the pavilion a little bit. Faculty of Agriculture and the University of the West Indies or other tertiary level institutions we have. Probably you all should be invited in the box a little bit. Because you're all quiet and we have a major problem. And probably we could challenge you all and say, look, if you all could put together a plan and assist the government in reducing that $1 billion US food import bill, a percentage of that would go towards the Faculty of Agriculture and University. Work for your money. Demonstrate, come out and say, here what's going on. I want more money. We are going to our government for no 4 and 5%, but here what are we doing? We are bringing significant saving to you all, and as we bring the saving, give us a percentage for the university. We come in with solutions now. Viable solution, once it hits its target, the university get a percentage of that. So, the faculty nice. We are protesting no more. Well, this was really expected from the faculty in UE instead of protesting for 4 and 5%. They really and truly expected a conversation and a bold conversation to come out of the university that says to the executive, we're going to work for your money. We have a transportation system. I want to see you come with a transportation solution. Measure it. You know the level of productivity. We have a caller. Caller, welcome.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm listening to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. I'm taking up your challenge. Who I need names. I don't need. How do you know that the head of the, as you say, the university people, they are not in the pavilion? They don't look at cricket.
Yeah, they look at cricket.
So they are not in. They are in the pavilion. I hear you saying. I heard you saying, go to them, and they have to do. Who tell you are not sitting down next to them in the pavilion? So they don't watch cricket, and I'm not saying to go and say anything there, but sometimes that's the starting point. You talk over, you come down to the ground, as the man say. You have to be on the ground. You always say like you have to. So I want to know now, could you please give me, well, anyway, I'll find out the head of the people that you're talking about, and we have to speak to them. There's no sense saying whole day, where are they? We have to ignite them. Ignite them for what? They getting their money and they're going home eating our food. That is their mentality. You know that. You have
they
to
get
eat,
paid,
you have to go
and when they want more pay, they protest and they get a 5% more.
No,
what have they delivered?
What I mean, they're doing their work. They're doing their work. That's their work, right?
We in the pavilion have to demand more. The pavilion have to demand more of the people that they pay.
You don't have to demand. Yes, but you sound like you're begging. You have to pull up a chair at that table where they're eating the food, okay? And you call the shout. Remember, they're working for you. Why are you not getting it in your head? Why are you not getting it in your head?
I hear your demands of the empire. I hear your demands of the empire. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, it's waxing warm. It's waxing warm. The solutions that your Trinidad really do have a problem in terms of solution. Trinidad have a management problem to a large extent. It's how we manage the economy, how we manage opportunity, how we manage situation. We demonstrate to a large extent that oh, we have a caller. Caller, welcome.
Yes, sorry again. I really don't know what is really happening up at St. Augustine there. And when you talk about this what is tropical agriculture?
Faculty of Agriculture.
Yeah, tropical agriculture. Is that tropical again?
The Faculty of Agriculture.
Right. And I really don't know. I think, remember Morgan Job was talking sometime about that same faculty and what they're actually doing. They do a lot of research, so it is said. But I am not seeing it reflected in any improvement or any expansions in agriculture. I have not, or development in agriculture. I'm not seeing, I don't know. They were doing some work on cocoa, I think, with respect to some disease that, you know.
Yes, as you say cocoa, let me jump in piece of a thing there. You remember we were talking about the award for Moody and non-national getting the highest award? There was a guy who was doing research in cocoa, not from Trinidad, I think from India itself. Well, he have a name, Indian name. Yeah. He got the highest award in Trinidad for his cocoa research in UWE. That's the other person who got a national award, the highest award, who was a non-national. Yeah,
right,
go ahead.
But what has happened to the cocoa industry? Has it benefited from that? Is there an expansion or growth in
yeah. I like how you're talking. That's
what I'm saying, because if you do research on I think when you put money into research, it should in fact reflect whatever research, whatever comes out of it should be reflected in terms of production. And I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing a decline in industry. I remember they had Centeno there, you had, but I think it's ICAP or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if that still exists. But I remember sometime in the 80s or so, the late 70s, you had the Germans were here, and they were somewhere in Tiaco, they were somewhere in Chagarama. And as soon as they moved, they put some of those people from IKEA or ATF or whatever it is. And the whole thing crashed. The whole thing in Chagarama crashed. They started to plant all kind of mango that never been, and all kind of things. Yeah. And until the whole thing, I think they retrenched the whole therapy. So I don't know what is being done with that. I think Patrick Manning had thought about some Cubans, I think. I don't know what has happened to that. But the thing about it here is that those learning institutions, to me, that they are not really, as you said, they are not focused, or in fact, they're not directing their efforts, their learning, or whatever it is, in terms of development. I don't know because I'm not seeing anything happening. I don't know what
Agreed. And that's the problem.
It's a sickening thing. I mean, nothing at all.
Yeah.
And if you, I just want to say this.
Yeah.
If you look at the university, I think somebody would have spoken about it. I think his name Rowley. He said that they were not doing research. And a matter of fact, I am saying, I heard Morgan Joe said that in Trinidad there's no intellectual life. We don't have, and that is because they're very silent up there. They're not, as a matter of fact, they seem to be alienated or isolated from the community itself. They're not part of it. You don't hear them on the radio. You don't know those people before. And I want to make a comparison. In the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, you had people like Ralph Henry and those people, Maureen Keynes and all these people who used to come out and you get them on the television. They're doing research. They tell all kind of things. You have this fellow, Michael Bourbon, from the St. Anne's, the psychiatrist. All kind of research taking place. I don't know, like this place dead. And that's the problem in this country. No
You're preaching.
Life, and the
You're preaching.
Seem to be isolated or divorced from the society which they were intended to serve. So it's a waste of time.
Excellent. Thank you, caller. Yeah. Ooh, place is waxing warm. I take a little break. Place is getting hot again. Hungry here. So I say chase the adventure with KFC this Java. We're bringing the heat with 3 epic stops across TNT. Listen to this. July 12th, KFC South Park. July 25th, KFC Independence Square. August 16th, KFC Scarborough, Tobago. This Saturday, South Park is where the adventure begins. Chase the crunch with KFC from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join your favorite hosts, Junior Lee, Chinese, and Whitney, and unlock the full Java experience. Step into the 360 bucket. Explore our augmented reality world and win Java Chill kits, exclusive merch, and free KFC. Come sample the all-new KFC tenders. Dip, dunk, drip to win. Live DJ entertainment and finger-licking fun. Java unlocked. Adventure activated. Only at KFC. That is what I'm going to nibble on as we continue this journey in evaluating and analyzing the batsmen and making demands of the batsmen. Well, we have to understand, Pavilion. We have to understand something, eh? The executive have a role to play. Although we may believe to a large extent, and I don't want to manage that belief and said, there's only so much the executive can do based on how the construct of our governance model is. Right? So let's get it out of the way. What the government doing? What the government doing? The government hires now through the service commissions persons to deliver goods and services to the citizen. They can't do it. The minister can go and run NGC. You can put a board. The board will hire management to run NGC. Through policy, of course, the minister could get rid of the board who could, or instruct the board if they're not getting the deliverables to get rid of the management. Corporation sold, Minister of Finance, all the board come under. There's a fiduciary responsibility from the ministry to the management and the board. So although we may have solid waste management, and I want to zero in a little bit on them, the executive would put a board of solid waste management. Yeah? The board will then look at putting a management team in place to deliver. annually they fall under a ministry. They would annually, I suppose and I hope, put together what I call an administrative plan for the ministry as to what we want to achieve next year or the following year, and then give a review. Well, I used to do it. Give a review of the past year, what we achieved with the money received and so forth, what was the shortfall, if there were any, and what caused the shortfall, and what were the impact of the shortfall. This was supposed to be the mandate of these people in these places, man. They're going there for no joyride. This is why I can never understand the issues of WASA. It confused me really and truly how we tolerate, and these people sit with their 80,000 a month jobs and so forth, not delivering, and they're still there. It puzzles me. I just use WASA as an example. I'm pointing a finger. There's a number of other agencies too. When we put a management in place, there must be, and this is where the accountability comes from. I'm speaking to the batsmen and the bowlers from the third eye, from the third empire box. The legislature, where monies are approved for these institutions, must demand, and not from this jokey parliamentary committee that they have an ask 2-3 question with no teeth and can't do nothing about it, that a report, a review, because it's strange, you have all this parliamentary committee and you're hearing that, off the top of my head, airlines and CPEP and so forth do have no audited financial statement for 4 and 5 years and all kind of thing. And so, will you go before parliamentary committee every year for? Well, toothless is either these public accounts committee could do something. If they can't do nothing, stop wasting time having people go in and sit down before, spend whole day and ladive and ladiva. Shut it down, stop it. If it's a toothless bulldog, irrelevant. If it's just for show and puppy show, forget about it. What are you meeting there for? Oh, call NP. And the board of NP come and and we question and we this and that and the other and so on. What comes out of it? What we could do is either we could do something about it to fix it, and if we can't do nothing about it to fix it, let me stop wasting time with these talk shops. So again, back to my substantive what I say. Batsmen and bowlers must hold all agencies to account that you all approve money to in the parliament. You'll approve money, budget pass, and all you call national security and this one, that one, only approve the budget as the case may be. Yeah, you all approve the budget. Hold each of these organizations to account, and if the performance is not consistent with what they requested the monies for or what they said in their mandate, they would deliver. If they don't have justification for non-delivery, get rid of them. Get rid. If you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but you, at the end of the day, you do not pay a salary. You do anything like that, but you can't show justification why delivery to the citizens that the parliament have is accountable to, you haven't delivered. And if you don't get rid of them as the legislature, then we blame you, then we get rid of you. And this is the reason why the pavilion have been getting rid of executive over and over. You know why? Because you have been shirking your responsibility and behaving parties are. Parties are. Because when institutions do not perform, you all do not take corrective action by replacing people for non-functioning. Either getting rid of the board, and can get rid of the board. If the board not holding the management accountable, but the board sometimes your partner and your friend and your family, so you get harassed. But at the end of the day, we get rid of you, and you know why we get rid of you, the bowlers, and you, the batsmen, from time to time? Because when we look at you, you have not held anyone accountable for lack of performance. So we blame you, and we get rid of you for the lack of your inactivity or inaction for dealing with those persons in institution that you employ and we approve in parliament monies to deliver goods and services, not delivering goods and services, and they sit down and they laugh at you. They laugh at you, batsmen and bowlers, every time. You know, we get rid of them, we get rid of them. But who are the problem really and truly is the non-performance in this institution that getting big salary and you taking the licks day in, day out, day in, day out. It's time we start holding them accountable. I'm moving towards a water break. Metro dry. Let me see. What in the cooler? If it have something delicious, I'll be back.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Attention business owners. Are you looking to reach a vast audience and boost your brand's visibility? Then look no further. The Street 919 FM is here to help you shine. With over 170,000 followers on our social media platforms, our radio station is the perfect platform to showcase your products and services. Join us and let your message be heard by thousands of eager listeners. Contact us now to learn more about our affordable advertising packages. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to connect with your target audience. Advertise with the Street 919 FM today. For more information, call 399-5959 or 384-2232.
Are you tired of scratching the surface? Do you want to understand the real forces shaping Trinidad and Tobago? From the delicate dance of our energy sector on the global stage, to the geopolitical shadows behind the crime affecting our streets, we dig deeper. The third umpire goes beyond the headlines. We connect the dots between local challenges and the international currents that truly impact your life, your wallet, your security. Join Stephen Matheson, Selvin Mitchell, and Ronaldo Rollux, 3 employment law and human resource management consulting professionals, as they unpack the complexities, analyze the power plays, and reveal the often hidden realities. Understand the game. Understand your role in it. The third umpire, critically analyzing Trinidad and Tobago's economic and political realities on how they affect your daily lives. Tune in Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. on the Street 919 FM. Don't just listen to the news. Understand it.
We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. Play way fast cash, that is the fit. We rollin' big. Fast cash and play way take win. No extra spend, just vibes and luck. Play way and fast cash turn up. We rollin', yes we rollin' big. Fast cash and play way take win. Mega mix or monster pick. Jackpot from 10,000 quick.
Jackpot starting at $10,000 have now been added to NLCB's Playway and Fast Cash games. Wager on Playway Mega Mix or Fast Cash Monster Draw for a chance to win the jackpot after every draw. Don't miss out. Visit NLCBgames.com for details. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly.
Whoever said Messi was a bad thing totally missed the point. Take that hit song everyone loves now. It probably started like this. Baby, calm down. That's why KFC is celebrating the messy moments with our Messy Cruncher and Messy Zinger sandwiches for only $34.95. Imagine a crunchy, golden brown, flavorful chicken sandwich sauced to perfection with our signature sweet, spicy, tangy sauces. Oh boy. So crunch into the deliciously messy moments today. Check socials for details. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Get hot this summer. Oh no, we mean HUT, as in hot days mean hot deals with Pizza Hut. Get 1 large pizza plus single breadsticks for only $135, or go bigger with 2 large pizzas, family breadsticks, and cinnamon rolls for just $290. All your favorite pizzas with all the toppings you love all summer long. So head to the Hut and get your hot deals while this offer is super hot. Pizza Hut, now that's delivering. Get hot this summer. Oh no, we mean HUT, as in hot days mean hot deals with Pizza Hut. Get 1 large pizza plus single breadsticks for only $135, or go bigger with 2 large pizzas, family breadsticks, and cinnamon rolls for just $290. All your favorite pizzas with all the toppings you love all summer long. So head to the Hut and get your hot deals while this offer is super hot. Pizza Hut, now that's delivering.
The Gap Man Limited specializes in products that cater to all your health needs. The Male Enhancement Package targets the areas of the body that contribute to erectile dysfunction. The Male Enhancement costs $1,400. The Gap pills are priced at 250 pills for $500 and 500 pills for just $900. For the best in eye care, get the super combination of a Super Bright and the Body Healer. To improve the heart's function and circulation, get the Gap pills and Formula C. To get a total body cleanse daily, use the Gap Body Healer and Big C, all for a super low price of $1,300. To order your products from the Gap Man Limited, call 628-4531 for products that cater to all your health needs.
For more info, contact 476-7268.
Planning your Tobago getaway? Choose the highest Google-rated car rental company on the island, O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago. Located just minutes from the A.N.R. Robinson International Airport, at O'Neill, we pride ourselves on being the most tech-savvy car rental company in Tobago. Our process is 100% digital. No paperwork, no long lines. From easy pickup to seamless returns, renting a car in Tobago has never been simpler. WhatsApp us now at 1-868-361-1042 to book your vehicle. Don't forget to mention promo code RADIO2 to receive a 5% discount on your rental. Send a WhatsApp message to 1-868-361-1042 today. That's 1-868-361-1042. O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago, the easiest, most reliable car rental experience on the island.
Vehicle availability is subject to change. Driver must be at least 25 years old and have a valid driver's license to book. For more information, visit www.rentalcartobago.com.
It's in the feeling in our weak side. It's in the meaning in our spot. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are. Cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping. Together going strong. No matter what, we keep things flowing. Before we will go all in. Our hands up in the sky. Celebrating. Come let your rhythm flow.
So line up, link up, creep up, rock and come in. It's all about the fastest growing reggae show in the land without a doubt. Reggae Rock Sundays on the Shit 919 FM with yours truly, MC Duke and Selector Kochi on the ones and twos. So make it a date and don't be late. 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. right here on the Shit 919 FM. Got 'em our way, King Selassie.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
I'm back. Let me just remind you all to dip it, dunk it, and win it this Saturday, 12th July at KFC South Park. Come sample the new KFC tenders and step into the Java experience. From 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. unlock the giveaways, augmented reality games, exclusive merch and free KFC. Hosted by Junior Lee and Chinese with live DJ vibes in full effect. Chase the crunch and unlock the Java experience with KFC. I say that, I know some people throat getting wet, their mouth dribbling. They vex at me wait saying this for I don't reach home already, boy. This man want me go back out the road and buy that boy, but oh God, he giving me pressure. But hear what? Feeling good, tasting good, well, you know what you have to do. Go back out the road and buy the thing. So we had the juncture where we say, as people in the pavilion, we talking to the pavilion from the Empire box and saying, you all have input to make. Election is over. We put people outside there to perform, bat, bowl, and so forth. And we have to be responsible on this side. I'm not saying there's be perfection on the batting side or the bowling side. And we have to be cognizant. I say conversation coming for you, must not be truncated, but must be clearly defined in terms of what do you mean by that. Yes, you know, I don't want to go into to what parties are saying and so forth. Or deal with the real issue before us and so forth. You know, building back no party. I ain't getting into them kind of thing and so forth. And who have anything in an election. Where we are dealing with the serious business of the day. Serious business of the day, we have an economy, we have a country, we have children, we have grandchildren. I know there's a saying, you define a country growth and development by how they treat the elderly and the young ones, really and truly. How are we treating our elderly? How are we treating the people underneath the banks and so forth that we see the destitute and the downtrodden in society? This how I go to one community. I was in Shoguanas recently, and I would say it, you know, when you go into 500, when you pass KFC on the right, I don't know what they call it. I don't know that there's a name for the road, Connector Road, where there's the little bridge to go into 500 from Montrose there. Every day I see a set of little children there knocking on your glass and begging for money and so forth, and begging for alms or what they're begging for and so forth. I want to ask yourself the question, do we have any social services in Trinidad? Do we have counselors in Trinidad working? Do we have police in Trinidad working? Or probably that is something normal and legal that children of that age should be in the road, sitting on the pavement, soliciting and so forth, and everybody turn a blind eye to it. I say this to say how sometimes you hear these lofty talk, but just people mamagaing you. People mamagaing you, and these are little measurement and tests to test the efficacy of the governance system, you know. And the governance, I mean, drill down governance. Stop looking at the executive only. There are people in the Ministry of Social Development. There are people in the police service. There are people in community development. There's people in the Ministry of Education that are passing and seeing little children, maybe 10 years old and 5 years old and 6 years old, standing by the road, and I ask ourselves, as the lady asks, are we called to action to address it? Doesn't it concern anybody? Well, it's not my children. That don't concern me. Once I get my pay, I good. And then when things go awry in the country, we start to point finger. And I say today, people in the pavilion, start looking at the man in the mirror. You tell me a counselor, me and who's the counselor in that area doesn't know that it's taking place within his constituent, within his polling division, that this activity is taking place. What are you counselor for? Are you counselor for the size counselor? Is the counselor? There's a way they say it, is the minister, is the counselor? Is the manager? What are you doing for it? What deliver? What have you delivered in the last 6 months? You remember, there's a social aspect to being a leader, you know. Not because you didn't build the box drain, you couldn't be of support to the community in some way. I know the former batsman from Tunapuna, Ford, I think his name is, was one who, even if I couldn't pave a road, but I'm there singing Kumbaya with you. I'll never leave you alone. He was always there. He felt he had a social responsibility as a batsman at the point in time to be with the community, to be with his people, to nurture his people, to show empathy with his people and so forth. Yeah? So, I ask myself when I see this is happening by that bridge in Montrose there, by the connector bridge there to take you into 500, and every day, and you see that one, there's about 10 little children there every single day, and I wonder, no police car don't pass and see and say, why these children there? Nobody from the Ministry of Education pass and see these children there. Nobody from Social Services, the MP office, the Councillor office. But nobody don't care. And then when things go awry, we blame, we vote them out and vote in somebody else. But you have a responsibility too, you know. The man you put as the executive can't see everything. What about the rest of us in terms of our role and responsibility in nation building? What is our role in nation building? My God. What are you doing? What are we really doing? Oh, vote on the government. The executive could only do so much in terms of policy, in terms of setting structures, in terms of system. I find from time to time they don't hold persons they put accountable, and I blame the executive for that. My Empire Mattison always say, yes, you say that, you know, Mitch, but the executive have yes, they have a responsibility, and the responsibility the executive have is holding persons they put in position accountable, which is state boards to a large extent. And if WASA board is not performing, or you know what a board, NGC is not performing, or stop using the parties as a thing. If I employ you as a board of directors for HDC, and when houses are built, when you put on, you flush the toilet in the man house in number 5, when you pull the one in number 10 toilet flushes, and the board is sitting there and the management is allowed to mismanage the resources, I get rid of the board. So the board will know, hey, I have a responsibility to ensure the management perform. Relative to the mandate you, the board, have been given by the executive. So the executive have responsibility to hold the board accountable. And if there's non-performance in institutions, state institution that is, and the boards are allowed to sit there, then I get rid of the executive. So on that platform is what we use to measure the performance of the executive, by how they resource the leadership of institutions that are responsible for delivering goods and services to the people. If we have export TT or global TT, as they call it now, we're paying a number of persons inside here. You know, there must be a mandate and a measurement for the performance of these people. They're not working for free. So global TT, I'll ask, what are you doing relative to promoting the export potential of Trinidad and Tobago, and what is the measurement of your success? How much markets have you been able to penetrate? What is your advice on the local chambers with the manufacturers and so forth on this side, with the farmers and so forth, in terms of what it is demand? You know, in certain export market, there are certain way you have to label your product. OPPF is agriculture product. There are certain chemicals you cannot wash your product with. There are certain chemicals you can't fertilize your product with, and so forth. What is global? I must look at what is global TT mandate really true, and who is measuring. If you're living up to that mandate, the measurements, yet that establish that institution mandate, who's measuring it and holding people accountable? I feel too much people that's going to work and getting big salary, and the country not going anywhere. And this I hold the executive, the captain, the batsman, and the bowlers who go into the parliament and pelt ball at each other, and I realize where the focus have to be. We talk crime. I hear somebody talk some about crime the other day and say, well, national security and we are catching nobody. I'm saying, you know, once I did a paper on crime once. I wrote a little thing, I just did my thoughts on crime, and I'm saying anyone will go into a business that have a 90% success possibility. So when you analyze this business, you're 90% success. You're going to the business, yeah, good. Chances are, you know, A grade there. So we have to move that same analogy towards crime. And if the bandit realize, if I commit a crime, the possibility of catching me is only 10%, then what we telling the bandit, that crime is a good business to get into? If the chances of being caught is only 10%, then 90% of the time I will get away. And that's one of the measurements I use for murder, crime in general, detection rate. I must ask, we have a new commissioner of police. What is your strategy to improve the detection rate of the police service? What is your relationship with the judiciary to deal with the execution of the court system in terms of the effective delivery of justice in the court system? What is the relationship? Because the police say, yeah, we'll arrest them and we carry them in the court and they get away because, well, me, you know, the DPP or whoever wasn't ready and the judge threw out the case, as the case may be. What's the role of the DPP in all of this? What is the relationship of the three bodies, the DPP, the court system, and the police system relative to addressing crime? Do you all collaborate and discuss? The law association, all of this, lawyers, you have family, you have uncle, you have cousin, you are neighbor, you live in communities that are crime-ridden, some of you. What is the conversation? And we have to stop operating, and what I'm getting at, we have to stop operating in silos. That is the point I'm getting at. And the fact that we operate in silos to this extent is why we are in this position that we're in. We're not collaborating. They're supposed to have, between the law association, the judiciary, the police service, collaborating on some common denominators in that which impact negatively on this country managing its crime situation. Police can't exist by themselves. They can't solve it. You have a law association that have a view and a point of view in terms of where you're dropping the ball. Why this lawyer keep winning the case? Is something he's doing, is something he's seen, is something you're doing wrong? Why he's winning the case? What we doing wrong? Who is examining and measuring where we making a mistake all the time in terms of the arrest? We losing. Why we losing? Something we doing wrong. Is anybody examining or evaluating all the areas where we lost cases and doing a study on that? And say, hey, we made this mistake here, we made this mistake here, this is how we have to improve, this is how we have to do it differently, so we could shift the paradigm in terms of our success rate in the court. Should the judiciary looking at saying, I see P. Diddy case start and finish already, you know. It has some fellas for a little housebreaking still in jail 3 years and all kind of thing. P. Diddy case start. Done. Conviction. But a man who thief a car down the road, I hear he's still locked up a year now, he case car call and all kind of thing. We have to understand what is causing that. And if that to some extent is frustrating the police that I'm arresting people and the case are coming, they're only calling me every week to come to court and then the case postponing, we have to look at that seriously. Caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon.
Afternoon, my friend.
I saw where the Minister of Homeland Security met with the Minister of National Security in Jamaica, and they discussed the whole question of crime and security. And I was happy to hear that in Jamaica, there have been a significant decline or decrease in crime. And I hope the Minister of Homeland Security would have tried to understand or get the information as to what was responsible for that. And probably he can use some of what they would have done. And in terms of dealing with our crime situation here, I want to know what I would want to know. Well, what methodology you use? How were you able to successfully reduce crime? Because I have a crime problem here, and therefore I hopefully when he comes back, he may be able to visualize whatever he would have learned from Jamaica in our jurisdiction. I'm hopeful about that, and not just talk about crime. And you're looking for best practice. You're looking to see who has been successful in dealing with crime, how they have been successful in dealing with crime, and how that information can be useful in helping us in Trinidad and Tobago deal with crime. That is what I want to hear about. And as you rightly said, we need to look at the entire criminal justice system. We have to look at, again, the victim offender. We have to look in terms of the courts, the magistrate court, the high court, in terms of the delay. They take too long in order to deal with matters. You look at even the high court, even the appeal court, they seem to be very tardy. Imagine matters taking 14, 15 years before they are witness dead, This one, nobody around, no protection for witnesses. So how are you going to get witness? How are you going to get evidence before the court if you can't produce a witness? Nobody willing to come forward. So all these things, I expect the prison system, they need to look at that. The probation, all that part of the criminal justice system, they must be looked at in terms of dealing with crime. And also you have other things that other factors that you must take into consideration, the community and all these different things, how you deal with the juveniles, how you deal with those young, because you have to look at prevention, not just the treatment or intervention, right, or rehabilitation. You need to look at prevention. So all these things you have to, and more that you have to look into if you want to deal with crime in this country. Thank you.
You're welcome, caller. You're most welcome. Crime in Trinidad, really and truly, to a large extent, if we ask ourselves, 1.3 million people, we have 5,000 criminal or 10,000 criminal, and we can't manage that. Or people, I shouldn't say call people criminal, my apologies here. People who have a propensity to go against the law or go awry. We can solve that, really and truly. Are we serious, really and truly? We have people in the police service who we have sent to do training in institution of criminal justice institution worldwide, from Israel, USA, Sandhurst, and so forth. Technology to solve crime is available, dime a dozen all over the place. Does the police service do a retreat in terms of reviewing strategy? These roadblock thing that they do really do impress me as any crime solution, really and truly. They'll be doing that for time immemorial and have them in pack in any way in terms of the crime data and crime statistics and so forth. All this roadblock we have had and so forth. It haven't done anything, really and truly, that is measurable in a positive direction our crime situation in this country, really and truly. Yeah. So I believe is a sit down that is needed with them, and we have to start measuring them in terms of delivery. You know, we're watching them, you know, but they have to be serious, and somewhere along the line, I hope the new commissioner of police will take a more scientific approach to solving crime by examining. I must teach the commissioner of police here. He seemed to be an intelligent guy. I wonder if he studied Six Sigma in terms of how we could go about solving or reducing the crime scourge to some extent. I mean, a scourge you call it. I know what is the measurement to determine is a scourge. But how do we start arresting and giving the population a peace of mind that you have no problem sending your children or you yourself going for a walk at any hour that you want to in your community, as the case may be? It's not difficult to do that, really and truly, you know, because I believe we have over 6,000 police officers in a country as small as ours. We have, I mean, we talk about the borders, how difficult it is to secure 5,400 square kilometers, something like that, where we're on. How difficult is that to secure that? Why are guns coming in the country? So I'm seeing a total lackluster approach and a talk when it comes to managing crime. People just talk, it sound good and sound tralala and so forth, but these things are measured by the peace of mind and the comfort the population at the end of the day feels and experience. Yeah? And if we're not feeling comfortable, then something is wrong. I don't know what strategy the commissioner of police have. I know I look at one audit report once that talk about, I see they bought some vehicles recently. But one audit report demonstrates clearly from the Auditor General where VEMCOT had, I know if it still had, I don't know if it still have, had the responsibility of maintaining the police vehicle and so forth. But VEMCOT was owed by the police service over $15 million. The police service were not paying VEMCOT for the servicing and maintenance of their vehicle. So buying more vehicles is not really a solution to the problem, you know, Commissioner of Police, to a large extent. Is the whole I like to use the word overarching strategy for keeping the police service mobile. We have to look at the strategy. You have a budget that is given to you by the Ministry of National Security that is requested through the Parliament from the budget. So the police service have a budget that the Commissioner of Police manage. So if your vehicles are not being repaired, you are to say, well, where the money going if it's not being repaired, if all going in overtime, and why it is. If you have 6,000 police is still working overtime, we really need so much police on the ground that police have to be working overtime. I don't know, I'm just assuming, I'm just throwing out suggestions here and so forth. But it's a critical responsibility for two things. Mobility and communication is two critical tools of policing. Right? So we start with that. How are we with our mobility to get from here to there to address and arrest crime? How are we with the communication, effective communication to network? How are we with our network? Yes? To solve crime. How are we with our database now in terms of tracking crime and so forth? In terms of cars being stolen, what areas cars being stolen, where should we strengthen our police presence, our detection rate? Where should we be focusing our 8 divisions, our 8 command centers that we have in Trinidad and Tobago in terms of monitoring and response? How should we be positioning our asset to address and arrest the possibility of crime taking place and so forth? I don't know, probably you're with your team right now and looking at strategies and so forth, and brutishness is not a strategy really when you look at the overall picture, right? Is how you position yourself to be a deterrent, and a deterrent is, for the police service, your ability to detect and prevent, to a large extent, crime from taking place, and when it takes place, to engage and arrest the perpetrators of crime. Yes, that is the measurements that we put in on the table. How are you repositioning? If we said there were failures of the past, how are you repositioning the police service to do that? The Minister of National Security will go outside there and he will do his doing, you know. But remember, the Minister of National Security cannot implement. He could suggest as policy from the ministry, set policy, but policy, Commissioner of Police, is for you to ensure that policy is implemented by your team and yourself also. An effective execution of those policy, the minister will be looking upon you. Sad to say, our constitution is so designed that the Commissioner of Police report to the Police Service Commission on the performance of the police service, strange, and not the minister or the ministry. Where the appraisal of the Commissioner of Police is done by the Police Service Commission and not by the ministry or the minister. So we as a pavilion and a people and umpires have to ask more of the Police Service Commission. If the police service is not performing in an adequate or standard or at the level that we expect it, we in the pavilion must demand and start calling the names of the persons in the Police Service Commission. Either we move them, Mr. President, who would have appointed them, or they start doing what they're supposed to do, holding the police service accountable for performance, because they are the ones who measures and appraise and are given report by the Commissioner of Police. They are the ones, the Police Service Commission. So that organization, that group should be rolling off the tongues of people daily when the police service fails in its deliverables. Where is the Police Service Commission in all of this? Had the minister and the ministry provide the financial resources for the Commissioner of Police to perform his duties? Did the Commissioner of Police made requests for the procurement of, I here spoke about the body cams the other day, but I understand the body cam may be in a, there may be some level of litigation taking place where the body cams are concerned and so forth. Hence the reason the police service doesn't have the body cam. But the body cams, I understand, if I know, 3,000 body cams were procured, a tender went out, it was public information, 25 million was the lowest bidder, although I say, anyhow, I shouldn't question that. So $25 million was the tender for it and so forth. But I understand that there's some litigation relative to that whole issue. And hence the reason the police service doesn't have the body cams as yet. Right? How this matter, I don't want to go into it. I don't know if there's any court system yet, but I know letters were written by parties and so forth relative to this whole body cam thing, so it's on a standstill right now. So the whole country is on standstill while we go through some legal yin and yang now, after a tender was awarded to someone for these body cam to be given to the police service. So we have passed the stage of the tender, we have passed the stage of the request and so forth. It's not delivered, and I suppose the Commissioner of Police will delve into that to see why it is not delivered. But we need much more than that. Body cam is one thing, yes. It gives a level of audit and quality management of the police service and the delivery of justice by them to the citizenry, yes. But more than that, we need more forensic analysis and data analysis being done by the police service in terms of preventative, proactive, measures to be employed on a daily basis. Former Commissioner Gary Griffith always mentioned that to a large extent in terms of the technology that is available to aid in crime detection. I was going to say Commissioner of Police. Yes, caller, welcome. That was the Commissioner calling me there. Caller, welcome.
Yes.
Good evening.
It should be the commission. It should have been the Commissioner calling you.
I wish it was.
I've been listening to you. I've been listening to you spewing and, so you are speaking about the police and you're speaking about crime. You have to speak about the criminals. You're talking about body cams and what Commissioner of Police. Who is the Commissioner of the criminals? How, if now people don't realize crime is an underground economy. And this is for years. When you're underground, you see probably people are too much in offices. Now when you're on the ground, crime is a economy and it's thriving better than a ministry, better than an executive. Who deals with them? How the criminals get away, do their job, and live comfortable life as your neighbor, friend, bartender, because we don't know who are it in real, right? To say, well, my taxi driver is this. We don't know. They thrive normally. They thrive normally without wondering for body cams. Who's going to buy it? Who put out 25 million? Do they worry about that? Let me tell you, the criminals has more technology. The more technology the institution get, is the more that is old time days for the criminals. Let me tell you that. Why you all are speaking about crime without speaking about the criminals? How effective they are. I would not deal with the policeman and the commissioner. They're lifeless. They're just on boards. All what you said there, you spoke. I'm listening to. I said, but why Mr. Selvin is speaking about the police commissioner and police, and you're talking about crime? You have to talk about the criminals, how efficient they work. Try and remember, there was a problem years ago, and I called him the commissioner of police, right? And they did not have a car. They did not have a car. I said, but yes, but the criminals don't worry about cars.
Well, that's why that's why the criminal exists, because the police don't have no car, so he could go and do what he wants.
That's what Noel. I am just, and this is years ago. No, you're laughing. Listen, this is years ago. So why are you talking about crime? It's such a big, and what we have to do? Why? How come the criminals sit down here and have hearty and you all talk about body cams hasn't come? And the real criminals, to me, are the functioning bodies who have to wait on a body cam, while that is old talk for the criminals. That is long time dating. And they can't even, and the executive and the ministries can't even get that. They can't get something in order. You all have to realize, where is the crime? the crime is the people who bringing in the guns. The crime of you're all looking at the wrong people. You know. So, poor soul, you talk so much about nearly a half hour stretching out, and I feel for you.
Yeah,
You know?
I hear you. Thank you,
I
caller.
really feel
Thank
for
you,
you.
caller.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the caller, I want to explain. You have it, I don't want to say you have it wrong. You have an opinion. Crime exists because there's opportunity. If you address if you remove the opportunity, then the possibility of crime do exist. As I started, if I can do something wrong and get away with it, the propensity to do it exists. But if I know if I attempt or do, I will be caught, then I will reconsider doing it. We do not know the heart of man. So we can manage the heart of man, really and truly, who will go, I don't know who can do a crime. But we must be so positioned that he must think, if I do that, there's system to catch me in short order. There is I don't know who going to do something next. I can say who is going to be a criminal, who is a criminal, and what are going to do next. We can't. But we must so put system in place that if they so do, we can address it in short order. This is why we have a spare tire in our trunk, you know. I don't know where I go and get, I mean, never get a flat tire. But systems in place that if I get one, I can be back up and running in short order. So we have to look at the police service, and if it is equipped to prevent to a large extent, we have to. If the man know if I go to enter there, time I go to turn wrong again catch, he won't bother to enter. We have what we call soft target and hard targets in crime. So is the police service harden up to make the targets look so hard that he wouldn't bother to think about itself? That is where it's at. We can be thinking of who going to do it. Somebody will want to and attempt to. We have to put system in place to deter you from thinking about it, but look for something more meaningful and productive to do as citizen. Caller, welcome.
Yes, man. You had a nice evening. From yesterday you start. I remember when the brother said that it have the umpire and the batsman in the wicket is one, and I remember when you asked him, he said, boy, all of them need firing. You started it from there. And you bring it down today with the help of the consciousness of that I have in my head, that I believe the spirit that is in your head too. You make a deal. You put yourself as the umpire inside of the pavilion. You're not on the field right now watching no game. You're up in the pavilion and you're watching the game. That is where I want to see you the next 11 in the pavilion. That, you see the way that looks straight to government? Put 12 all you do that for me. And all of we behind me. Do just that. The spirit land. You have it. Okay.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. You're most welcome. Thank you, caller. Yeah, so, caller, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Afternoon, my friend. Hey, how you doing? Welcome.
I'm hearing about 2, 3, and 4 Mr. Lahoketa, so I don't know, I may have to change my name, but I am the original Mr. Lahoketa on this station. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's fake or if it's whatever it is, or if it's no balls, I do not know. Anyhow, what I sit down here right now by my table and what I'm studying, we have to bring out the reserves, and by the reserves I mean the people who do the implementation and the public service, and that by that I mean PSs. right? People, the public, or the gallery do not know, or the stands do not know, or they're not familiar with the PS. I, for example, I can, if you ask me who the PS in Ministry of Finance, I do not know. You ask me who National Security, I do not know. Right? These people are supposed to come out, as in the old days. When I was a young fella, I will have known about Dodridge Allen, Frank Bassotti, Frank Rampassad, Renaud Rampassad, right? All those PSs. I call Frank Bassotti because he had the program on TV. Those are black and white TVs in the 70s. We had issues and ideas where from time to time ministers will come out, or as we say, batsmen will come out, and then we'll have TSs coming out and answering and having discussion of the state of play.
Yeah.
And we need to have that, and that is why I got interested in the politics of the country, because growing up my neighbor's TV, I think it used to be on a Thursday night after the news, and I knew what was going on in terms of the finance, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of international relations or foreign relations, education and health, right? So we grew up at that time, people knew exactly what was going on, but for the longest while in this country, right, particularly in the last 9-10 years, right, people were not exposed to the state of play. So we need to look at that again and let the children, school children, let adults, those young, those not so young, know who are the people doing the implementation.
Yeah.
We know all the ministers, all the batsmen, and we know them, we are familiar with them, but we need to know the reserves.
Agreed.
Right?
Yep. Point.
Okay, brother, thanks.
Excellent. Excellent point, caller. Every organ of this system of government and governance have a role to play. We seem to always focus on the executive only and believe, well, the executive does everything. The executive have a role to play, and we hold them accountable for their role. The role I hold the executive accountable for is holding the people that they in charge of accountable for delivery of goods and services, because the executive are going in this way. The executive not in any position to award any contract or bill, unless the cabinet make a cabinet decision on something, as the case may be. But they have a specific role to play. They have their role to play, and they play that role. As the caller said, the permanent secretaries have a role to play. The boards of state enterprise and corporations have a role to play. The management have a role to play. When something takes place or doesn't take place, or when there's inefficiency in a system, what happens, the first thing everyone in the pavilion tends to do is run at the minister. We say crime and we say fire the minister, and we ask, well, okay, do you understand the role of the minister relative to crime? Do you understand the role of the police service relative to crime and the commissioner of police? Do you know the role of the police service commission relative to crime? Do you understand the role of the judiciary relative to crime? And where the challenges or the bugbear is, we have to so identify. But it is easy to run with rhetoric and excitement and so forth, and get rid of the Minister of National Security and get rid of him, look how crime high, let me fire him. And I always say, well, tell me which Minister of National Security could go and do a roadblock or arrest some perpetrator. He can't. Again, he's responsible. We had asked, I simplify it. I simplify it this way. Did the ministry provide an allocation that's adequate for the police service to function efficiently and effectively? We had asked that. Has the minister viewed recommendation from the, and you remember something, Minister of National Security is not necessarily a criminologist. He could be a lawyer, he might be an engineer, he might be what have you. The law does require or say, or the Constitution say, the Minister of National Security shall be a person with this skill set, we tend to look at persons with maybe a law degree or some kind of thing like that and put it there, but the law, the Constitution doesn't require that to a large extent. Yeah? So we'll be mindful. So we have a commissioner of police and we have a minister of national security, and the minister of national security will expect the police, based on him being in the operation side of national security, will come with some suggestion and decision for policy approval. He might say, look, I want some things to deal with more forensic tools and training and so forth for it, and we need to pass a law that we could, you know, up to now I don't think we can use photograph in as evidence or videotape as evidence, because, you know, they say it could be doctored and all of this and so forth and so forth. But there are other things that he may want to policy or law pass that would give him a little oomph in being successful in detection or deterrent, that the ministry would then craft a policy that will go to Parliament for approval. And that is the role of the ministry in that relationship with the police service, in terms of ensuring that policies that will help the police service become more effective in their role and responsibility relative to managing crime are so approved and passed and made available for the police service, as the case will be. Yeah? So that is the role of the minister. He may go to Jamaica and see all that he wants in Jamaica and so forth. We can tell the police, he can instruct the commissioner of police, he could try and sway by persuasion the commissioner of police to so do. But again, you know, Gary Griffith is one who always say he understood it well because he was a minister of national security. So he was very clear on the role of the minister and the role of the commissioner. This is why he was so emboldened when he was commissioner of police to speak the way he spoke. Yeah? When you can't tell the prime minister, I don't really report to you, brother, leave me alone, I report to the police service commission. Here was something done, ask me as a gently. We talk about this committee, National Security Committee or Council, National Security Council. It's not they're not constituted by Parliament, as the case may be. It's a group of the heads of the various divisions come together and look at strategy. I don't know what comes out of it really and truly, because it haven't been working, in my opinion. If the country is still complaining about the crime situation, then the National Security Council, whatever is discussed is not being implemented and not effective. But again, we go back into what the expectation should be from the Commissioner of Police relative to arresting and addressing crime. What tools is required. Gary Griffith always say we need to improve on the technology used in this environment to be more effective. No longer could we go on chasing down a man or hope somebody call and we run down a man. We need to then segue the police service into more meaningful policing and so forth. I know Jack Warner, while he was in office, he started this we call these guys in the white shirt and the black pants traffic warden and so forth, that will ease the burden of the police to focus on crime and criminality and crime prevention and so forth. But for some reason, like, these people has finished work at 4. So when crime, a funny thing about it, and I hope people in the pavilion work in the service, be it as traffic warden or police service, in the height of crime at 4 o'clock, when all cars are back on the road, you don't see no police or traffic warden directing traffic. And everybody on the road trying to go and fight into traffic all about the place, you don't see nobody. So again, your question is you all understand what you all trying to solve, and are you all, the system that you all put in place, is it really addressing it really and truly? During the day when everybody in the office working, you see a set of traffic warden all over the place. When we finish work and we go now, we fighting through traffic, giving one another bad drive and so forth. You see no police, you see no traffic warden. You all know the purpose, you all exist, you all know the mischief that was with we are trying to solve by your existence, as the case may be? And are the systems that are employed by these agencies, is it relative to the challenges that we're trying to manage? You put a system in place, but is it really addressing the problem really and truly? And these are the measurements. I don't know who manage these agencies and organs. I really don't know. And what are some of the processes of evaluating effectiveness and efficiency? It puzzles me. To a large extent, it puzzles me. What are you all doing? What are you all doing? What are you doing? Traffic warden, traffic start from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. There should be a heavy presence of traffic warden outside there during those peak traffic hours when people moving about and so forth to ensure smooth movement of vehicular traffic on the road and pedestrians, so be it. I don't know if that's the time they change and shift police service. I don't see a police. I look at Shoguna's Flower in particular around 4 o'clock, so when everything is happening. There's no police by Shoguna's Flower by the traffic light when we have traffic building up and people. What are we doing? How are we doing it? Who's measuring efficiency in this country? Who is looking at the efficiency? Somebody mentioned we should have a Doge like Donald Trump have, but each department on its own should be measuring the level of efficiency in terms of delivery of that service. Who's measuring efficiency in WASA? WASA, you put on, I think, a $75 million monitoring room, but yet people still have to call you all and tell you all I don't have no water. Are you all mad? You all put on, I think, it's $75 million or something like that. If somebody in WASA could correct me, you all put on this big monitoring room and all kind of lunch and all the beat, all the chest. But when I don't have water, I still have to call for a water truck. You only say, no, you don't have water where I live in. So what this system only put on really doing, WASA? This WASA, this system only put on, what really doing? If I still have to call and say, you don't have water home by me, the system can't say you don't have water in certain areas. You all do have flow meters and pressure sensors to determine that we don't have a drop in water pressure and we have a drop in flow, or there's no flow in an area, which means it doesn't have water. That the system could tell you for 1 week we didn't have flow in a particular district, that they don't have water, that we need to send water truck in that district, that the people still have to call you all WASA. You all spend all this money on this monitoring room. What the monitoring room, what monitoring? What is this monitoring, WASA? Me as the executive, I tell you earlier, a lot of people would be going home. And I think my time for going home coming close. My time, so tomorrow, the pavilion, we'll be discussing and examining the batsmen, what the expectation are from the batsman and the bowler, and who's holding who to account. Who is in the wicket? We discussed the first match yesterday and so forth, but we need some deliveries. We need something on the ball. We are putting some suggestion outside here from the third umpire box to the batsmen and they. Because the pavilion needs some runs on the board. Forget the old talk, forget the Zanti wine and the posturing and so forth. Waste of time. That will take us nowhere. That will turn around the economy. Batsmen posturing and so forth and talking and who go and who lock up. Waste of time. We need runs on the board. We need some deliverables. We need some measurements in place. We need some demonstration, some effective and efficient demonstration and measurable demonstration that some runs will be put on the board in short order. Yeah? 2 months have gone, or 60 days, or how much days have gone and so forth. And we need to see a turnaround in agriculture. We need to see effective delivery of water in our taps and so forth. We need to see improved road conditions and so forth. We have some of the worst roads. I'll get into that tomorrow and so forth. The role of the infrastructure batsman and so forth, and what is taking place with our infrastructure in Trinidad and so forth. I'm looking at our ranking in terms of world standing. Again, the ease of doing business, we out of 153 countries, we way down in the back, down in the bushes down there and so forth. We behaving like dinosaurs relative to the ease of doing business. So we have some work to do. You have a lot of work to do. The executive, you have to start holding people accountable. You put people on boards, they're not your friend or family no more. They're working for the people now. And if they can't deliver, move them, put other persons who believe that they can contribute more significantly to all stakeholders in this country. Yeah? Be serious about managing. Your role is to manage policy and manage state enterprise and the boards that you put in place. If we're not getting the deliverables, let me start moving people. I want to say a pleasant good afternoon, good evening to everyone. And we join together tomorrow when we evaluate the play of the day. I say a pleasant good afternoon.
You've got bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the Street 911.